And so then we took some money out of, I believe the capital reserve for this building, because we were purchasing the USAC. Then he came back to us last year with the phase one. And I understood, because you told me, you've been before, I want to say it was last spring where you told us that those were left out of
The heat pumps, yes.
you came before us and told us that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've held off on this building. Long, so if we don't do, if we don't appropriate this and put it in capital reserve, you're gonna complete phase one. What's the building status gonna be when that's done, without doing phase two?
Just as it is right now. I mean,
Nobody's moving,
correct. Planning will move up, Heritage will move downstairs.
and where is,
Which was
we're probably gonna put her storage of documents that by state law she has to keep secure.
She doesn't have any additional spots. That's underneath the stairway is the only secure spot that she has.
So of phase two, can I assume that the safekeeping of those documents is the one thing that needs to be done? Without, other than the other stuff?
I would certainly like to get rid of the asbestos. But essentially, yeah,
How did we end up this deep into this building without knowing that there's asbestos in the hallway?
I can't answer that.
And if the whole idea is a CIP so we can plan for the future, how is it fair to the residents to come up with new phases of projects each year with new $100,000 budget line items that they've never heard about and ask them to fund it? Let's do away with the CIP and just create a wish list every year. We owe it to plan. And I just think that we can't just keep doing this.
So once again, it's just my clarification. When we complete phase one,
Mhm.
what will be the status of this building?
I'm not sure I understand the question. The
Urban planning,
planning will be upstairs.
Yes.
Heritage will be downstairs, which I'm assuming the select board has already approved. I don't know that.
That's long.
So that might be another discussion.
Okay.
So the downstairs will be available to somebody. The bathrooms will be done,
Okay,
and that's it.
okay,
We do have a report that states our kitchen is not ADA compatible.
okay.
We have asbestos underneath the carpet.
And that's not addressed in phase one.
Correct.
The ADA kitchen, not addressed. Asbestos, not addressed. So
For whatever, we do have an asbestos report for this building. For whatever reason, the floor tile was never
That's in this hallway
correct.
right here.
I thought,
Floor tile that's underneath the carpet.
So under the carpet, there's a thin layer of plywood, which was hiding the asbestos.
So until we tear up the carpet, tear up the subfloor and decide to deal with the tile, the asbestos is pretty well hidden. Like,
Except for the other end, we do have a level change, which we do because we have a little bit of a thickness similar to like this, which is not, it's not,
that's been there.
it's been there forever. You're right. We can deal with that.
And
But the carpet was slated to be replaced. We cannot remove the carpet because it's glued to the asbestos.
so the,
So if we put it off,
Go ahead.
what's that?
How are they gonna pay for the carpet?
How are we gonna pay for the it's in the CIP, 25,000 to either refinish or carpet the hallway floor,
I really mean the ADA question. I thought we had a CIP to fix do all the ADA
not
compliance.
the kitchen,
What?
not the kitchen, just the bathrooms.
I thought we had a whole ADA thing done for this building like 2 years, 3 years ago, and all of that stuff was addressed in that, and that's why we created the CIP for 25 grand to do. I thought an ADA upgrade for this building.
I believe when I started here, it was 25,000, it was just the bathrooms.
Can the kitchen be done on in kind, somebody,
So the kitchen, I had budgeted as 5,000, we're reusing the cabinets that came out of Celebrating Children. So the 5,000 is only for any electrical work that needs to get done and a countertop. That's in refinishing the floor in there. That's basically all there is. As far as in kind, I'm sure that's possible. We have a business in town that provides countertops, but as I've described before, that's not something that I can go ask for.
And replacing just the countertops and the cabinets makes that kitchen ADA compliant?
Because there will be one section, the sink will be lowered so a wheelchair can get underneath it.
Even though there's not enough space between the cabinet and the fridge, that kitchen becomes ADA compliant with just a countertop that's reduced. That is the only non-conforming ADA in that kitchen.
The sink,
Sink.
I believe so.
That's awesome. If that's the case, if we have a report on that, let's do it right now. But that's assuming that getting by the door, around the fridge, into that sink is the only thing in that kitchen that's not ADA compliant.
I expect the fridge will have to move, and that's one of the reasons why I need a little bit of money for electrical.
So if we were to just renovate the supply and office that Celebrating Children had to make it acceptable to Medulla,
Mhm.
what would that cost? And leave the other part is
Looking at
already fireproof and everything, right? She just doesn't have the room that she needs.
her current vault is,
Is compliant.
yes,
If we were to leave that alone,
and that's the plan. That's gonna stay there.
But it's full, right?
It's full.
it's full. So all we really need to do is make those two locations compliant, right?
Yes.
And that would be put up fire rating for
And,
1 hour.
right, but it's also where the town has, like Jeff has his financial files, the server, the actual computer server.
Yep.
That room, the door on there is a hollow core door.
Okay,
So that 42,000 is to encase the entire room
yeah,
for 1 hour.
yeah,
A new door going into the server room.
yeah.
Inside the server room, there will then be a second door that only Medulla has a key to.
All right, and that has to be air conditioned because of the server.
Yeah,
No, it does not.
we
No,
actually,
it's not air conditioned.
we actually
It's
put a-
cool enough down there.
we actually put a window air conditioner in the summer just for humidity.
So how big is her current vault?
It's as wide as, it's about 4 or 5 feet wide and about 12 feet deep. And I'm just going off of memory.
And that's in her office?
No, it's down in the basement.
If you go down this back stairs and turn
Read
right,
that back, Chris. It's probably 6 feet wide. It's,
Got those two big.
yeah, it's the width of the hallway downstairs.
yes, yes.
But it's narrow.
What do you want to do with 1,730?
Can you? Is that on page 78? Is that where you are?
Okay, back.
Switch again. I don't know if they're done yet.
I don't either.
The 166 and the 42, 160, wants to zero it out. So you don't want to do.
I don't agree with zeroing it out. I'm more in agreement with getting some of the things done that need to be done. But I do agree that there is an extensive wish list here.
Medulla needs the space and it's mandated by law that we have to store those records.
I don't disagree, but the town's been around for 300 years? Oh, yeah, and we have 72 feet. 72 feet of storage in 300 years. So I imagine a couple file cabinets will get us through a couple more years while we appropriately plan for these expenditures.
In the existing space.
I don't know where we put, I assume all of the brain trust in this building can figure out where to put a couple of files, filing cabinets, if in fact we don't have a space for another piece of paper where this has to be done in July. Like, let's figure it out.
Historically, before we bought the youth center, what were we putting away every year in CIP for this building?
Last couple of years, we had some big upgrades.
That's a lot of pocket.
Installation, ADA, we did a whole bunch of
Parking lot we paid
parking
for.
lot, there's a lot we've done over the years.
$65,000 for the last 4 years, this year and the last previous 3 years.
And that's all town building.
Can we get by with that,
Correct.
Chris?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the figure.
Keeping it 65 and see what we can get by with. I mean, it won't cover the lining of the storage build, the fire tape.
Well, the server room itself is 42.
Well, that's what I'm saying, won't do the server room is what I'm saying.
Well, you don't need to do a server.
Right.
Like, if you
If
you
we,
gave me a wish list of dreams of all the things that we could do as a town. Having a sheetrock server room is the top of the list.
absolutely not.
Like, it's not even close to me. ADA applied kitchen makes sense. At some point, if
Well,
there
that's what I'm
is,
saying, I don't want to let that go, that could be definitely something that needs to be done.
Can you repeat the question again?
We're keeping it 65, what it was for the last 3 years.
Yep.
Right, Jeff?
Well, that's what was put into the capital reserve. What was taken out is more than that. Well, this year it's 105, the year before was 0, the year before that was 75, the year before that was 90. So,
We budgeted 65, but we exceeded it significantly.
well, you're not, it's not really budgeting. It's so there was already money in the capital reserve.
Which we took out.
So-
To buy the OU side.
No, none of the money, that was a separate capital reserve. There was a capital reserve for land purchases that we got that money from.
Reduced money from CIP for this.
Money that we had.
She reduced the contribution to the CIP. To counter the cost of the purchase of the rec center.
But not in its entirety,
No,
right?
no, that was funded by
Various.
several different,
Right.
No, but
Places.
my point was that,
Well-
unless my memory's terrible, we were doing that with the explanation that if Celebrating Children was over at the youth center, then we wouldn't have to do the $1.4 million design to do this. We could.
A large,
Well, there was-
a large chunk of that money was to put Celebrating Children downstairs.
Right.
And
That greatly reduced it. That was the explanation. That
correct.
was presented to me is that
So-
we should get the use. of-
and that also included a new a whole building heating system. And and basically opening up all the walls and starting from scratch.
Right.
But,
Electrical,
And then
but also when,
Merculite upstairs, some of these projects we
That-
chiseled away at.
prior to the Turner,
Bathroom.
prior to the Turner report.
correct. Yes, that was not part of the Turner report. And when the Turner report was first brought to the CIP, at least 3 years ago, as the 1.4, it was the CIP committee that said, can you break this down in phases? And so it's more palatable because we can't afford to spend this amount of money. Plus, they thought it was also too high, but they thought if you broke it down in phases and costed out the individual phases, you could come up with a more realistic down to earth number. And that's what's been done. And it has been in the CIP for the last at least 3 years in different forms, but it has been in there, except for the server room that was new.
Right, no, except for all of the money. So what we're doing is every year we're coming in and saying, let's do the bathrooms. Everybody want to do the bathroom? Let's do the bathrooms. Okay, next year. We didn't have enough for the bathrooms. Let's do the bathrooms again. Let's do the community development movement. We didn't call it phase 1. We called it the community development movement.
Correct.
And when we did that, we didn't say, and here's the 24 project, here's the 25 project, here's the 26.
Yes,
Where is that in here?
that's not, it's in the CIP.
It is?
Yes. I don't know what it's called specifically, but I don't have last year's CIP.
What if we do it?
But we're now calling phase 1. I don't see in here,
Once you do,
Uh,
you gotta do the card.
server room.
The server room is not in there. I've said that.
I don't see asbestos carpeting.
That's not in there because we didn't know about that.
Clerk's office.
Moving the clerk's office was part of the 1.4 million.
But that's not in here. If it-
I'll go back through,
if
Chris,
it was in
and
here, we would have a number of, we would have a sliding charts, right? When we have one of these,
Mhm.
I would agree, Chris, that some of these things are not in there, and some of them are things that we've just realized.
I have no objection to the projects. In fact, I think probably having an appropriate storage room makes sense. I think having the clerk's office work with the new layout of how people are in this building Makes sense.
1 just doesn't spell it out.
Let's put
Well-
$50,000 your way for 3 years
No.
when we have 150,000.
Yes, but it doesn't spell out what it is.
Right.
Let's tell the citizens how we're saving the money, actually using the program like we beg the schools to do it, and not just show up every year and say, here's our new product.
Okay. So it's in there and we'll push it out and, decide when you want to do it. But it is in there now.
So.
It's in the CIP now.
Well, how much can we agree to put into CIP for these projects?
You said zero. I want to keep it at 65.
So
No, I don't, it's the investment to CIP, I don't have as much to say, it's the money out that I objected. And when we haven't told them that this is our plan.
Zero and a $90 reduction, which, no, I'm sorry, $90,000. Well, what is it, Jeff? 102, 1 year, we didn't do anything, but versus not putting anything in at all is 100% increase versus something, even if it's 50%, it's better than 100. You're following me? It was 105 last year.
No, that's what was taken out. 65 has been put in for the last.
I
three years.
understand that.
All right.
I'm saying it's
Like my old.
the 65, and we get another 105,000, that's 100% over nothing.
No, I think Chris was saying just the opposite.
I'm okay putting money in, I don't want to take it out.
I know, but I'm just looking at both. We took out, we put in, what did we take out? What I'm saying is looking at both numbers.
What's that, Chris?
All right, so Chris, you asked me to give you some money tonight. Could we delay most of phase 2? But separate, I would like to get rid of the asbestos.
The asbestos under carpets that you don't need to replace. Why, if you get rid of the asbestos, we're gonna spend 30.
The asbestos has,
And we have to put 25,000 in floors.
I would suggest that the asbestos at some point has to go.
Agree. It has to go when we replace the carpets. And that's $55,000.
when are the carpets scheduled to be replaced?
Last year, if not the year before.
So where is that money?
It's rolled into the CIP.
Hmm.
No?
Hmm.
Originally, it was 17,000 out of my operating budget. It was identified in 20 or 21, I don't remember.
If we had 55,000, would you guys want to put new carpets in and get rid of asbestos that's buried under 4 layers? Or do a kitchen? Like,
It's only 5,000, is
Right.
that correct?
So back to what you were gonna offer us. This is a bargaining chip. I think you were gonna.
I'd like to get rid of the asbestos. I can't replace the carpet without doing the asbestos because it's glued to the asbestos tiles.
Understood.
So that the other,
You had a chip you were gonna give us. No?
well, then delay the rest of it out a year or two or whatever you folks decide to do it. I don't control the money. I offer,
to me, that's.
I can't help with the cost.
least-
But right now, the conversation is what are we putting in? We're talking about CIP right now, aren't we?
We're talking about taking money.
Taking out.
No, well, first we have to make a decision on how much is gonna go into the municipal and grounds CIP. And then what projects we're authorizing out, but we're recommending
126 is what you're thinking about taking out this year,
125 is what they're thinking of putting in.
and 126 coming out. No, 126 is 42.
Correct.
168.
Mhm.
And we haven't been putting in enough over the years to cover that.
Just keep getting scanned and hard.
Well, we reduced it when we.
It gets shaved.
And when we presented to the town about the youth center. Cause Colleen, I remember her presenting it and telling the town, well, this will free up us to be able to move engineering upstairs at the town offices and finish that. And I know when we were presenting it to the taxpayers to buy the youth center, we said, oh, well. With the municipal building, it'll free us up because we won't have to spend $1.4 million to get the building up to speed. And I know, Chris, you call it a 1,000 cuts, you keep saying that, but does phase 2 not get this done substantially, the inside of this building?
Yes,
What was the phase 3 you just?
energy efficiency, lighting and other efficiencies.
So we can put it off. Like you're saying, And then, but we do part of it, now we're gonna create it, as you say, 1,000 cuts, we're gonna create
No,
some.
I think you have, I want to tell the story. I want to say, what I would have liked to say is 5 years ago, here's our plan. We're gonna do some vermiculite in the attic, and then we're gonna redo the select.
That's what Vermiculite was done.
No, this is the 5 years. So we spent $100,000, and then we got permission to spend more than $100,000 to do a parking lot over 2 years that we didn't do. And then we said, we're gonna move them. Okay, now, oh no, bathrooms, sorry. Vermiculite, move the parking lot. We're gonna give you a bathroom. Oh, we messed that up. We need more money for the bathroom. Okay, good. Now we wanna move planning and town clerk. Mix them up a little bit. I get confused. Only planning is coming up. Okay, now we want to spin town clerk, put in a counter. Replace the asbestos under the carpet in the hallway, add some more heat pumps, because we thought we had those included, but we don't. And then next year, we're gonna do energy efficiency, and maybe we'll spend the money that we authorized for the park.
So Chris, am I confused? Yeah, the 1.4 million plan that was part of from King, didn't that have the clerk moving over to the plan?
Clerk was in meeting room C, planning was in celebrating children was downstairs, all new electrical, all new heating system,
But my point is, so once we bought the Beauvue Center
correct?
and Celebrating Children left,
Yep. That,
didn't you come to us and say, I remember you coming in here and telling us that, well, we can keep town clerk where it is and engineering and you saved a ton of what we thought we were gonna have.
originally, we were still gonna look into moving the clerk's office into C. But as we talked about it more internally, it didn't make sense to spend that money. Because there was other engineering costs to support her files, so we decided just to leave her where she is.
And then-
Make that decision.
I can't say,
Was that with the advisory committee? Were you gonna?
that was both the advisory committee and
That was after town meeting last
No. it first came up in 2020. It's in the CIP.
year. No, last year, last year in budget, we were talking about clerk being in the planning board.
Oh, I think,
We sat and did our Saturday morning budget talk,
That was one of
and we were going to put the town clerk in that room.
I couldn't tell you what,
David?
That had been the talk, yes, and then it was revised, but yes.
When? Before or after,
It was before town meeting, Chris, and he came in and talked to us. Even before last year, it was part of the whole Beauvue Center, I mean, by purchasing Beauvue Center, because he would say, if the question came up. How can we do it? And he said, well, you'd have to do it in phases, you couldn't do it all at once. And then I thought the heat pumps, I know you left some out of the estimate, it was in the CIP, but it wasn't the
it
dollar.
wasn't funded, because I didn't get Jeff the right number.
Okay.
It was miscommunication.
You made a mistake in the number. But
It was my administrative assistant that did it.
but you've come and talked to us several times that, about the alterations and how it's saving money. But when we were talking last year in the budget about the furnaces in this building,
Yep,
and I don't wanna confuse the building committee.
Yep.
And what you've told us here, so I'll rely on your memory, but I thought we could save some money there by adding the heat pumps because we're gonna have more efficient heating. As opposed to the steam. Did I not hear that?
initially, yes, in the shoulder months, we can rely primarily on the heat pumps. The boiler is in use, January, February, those colder months.
All right, so we don't wanna take any out, is that the deal?
maybe you take a straw poll and see who wants to put a $42,000 server room in without any planning and notice.
I would not want to do the server room unless we are gonna do the clerk's office at the same time, because she's probably gonna need some additional supports moving around. It's gonna be over that room. So the server room has to be done when the clerk's office is done.
So no, we can't move her window.
One clerk's office.
Which room is off?
So $15,000 to spin.
Correct.
Spinning the office is gonna change the server room?
No, but we may have to add additional supports and stuff, and it'd be a lot easier without having to go through brand new sheetrock.
We'll be done after moving her.
So you're gonna spin her office, including structural supports for less than $15,000?
No, that's included. Yeah, the 180 degree is a $2,500 door. Less than $5,000 worth of electrical work. And discussing this with the same folks that are doing the project down at the other end in Turner, we're not talking a lot of engineering that has to go on. A couple columns, that's it. But to do the electrical and stuff like that, it would be a lot easier to do it while the existing board that's down there is taken off. Just saves on the labor. If you folks, will, I'm. Phase one is the big part. If you want to put this off a year,
I don't mind what we funded. If we funded it at 65,000, seems appropriate for municipal buildings. We got done for 4 years. I'm just funding money into the CIP, but we owe it to the town to modify the CIP plan to include phase two, asbestos, carpet, heat pumps, so that we're actually saving towards a goal that they will explain to them.
It is in the current CIP, Chris. The 2022 CIP, it is in that. And that's the copy I gave you. Maybe you're looking at 2021, but this year's CIP, this year's CIP that they presented to you has that.
Well, of course it does, because it's here, but it's 100% funded this year. That's not CIP planning. Putting it in and saying we're going to raise it all and spend it all this month isn't CIP planning. Let's, right?
But it's in this year. If you don't want to, if you don't want to, if you want to hold off on doing it, yes, okay.
But the first time I have seen a budget for phase two, first time I've seen a budget for asbestos removal, sewer room, heat pumps the second time, countertops, is in this plan that says we want 100. $168,000.
How many years do you want to push it out for?
not to belabor the asbestos, we only learned about that this past spring,
But
the asbestos.
I know, but this is the idea with the CIP. It's like we learn about, okay, town, we need to, there are emergencies. We deal with the emergencies. But if it's like, let's upgrade this building with a phase two before we finish phase one, before we finish the parking lot, before we finish the bathroom. 3 projects approved and authorized, we haven't finished. Let's add 4 more projects to it. We need to plan better than that.
Point taken. But we need to include heat pumps. Right? When we do phase one.
In phase two,
Yeah, phase one, you gotta have.
We gotta have the 2 heat pumps.
So we're putting in $45,000 in heat pumps to replace a window air conditioner that they're,
This is
no.
where there is no.
So we're the clerk's office and meeting room C have air conditioning only. So this is to replace those with dual climate.
clerks. I thought we weren't moving the clerks.
No, but she has air conditioning only. So this
She
is,
has no heating there?
she has heat registers,
Baseboard.
That she has.
but
Where's the $45,000?
6 new wall units, 2 compressors.
Where? What rooms are getting?
Clerk's office, meeting room C. And the remainder in the planning department. So we're able
But
to,
we have AC in meeting room C.
correct,
And baseboard.
We have heat in there.
Right.
Been in there.
right, but we have,
We have heat in Medulla's office. Why would we change the heat in Medulla's office?
because we have to add the compressors, and so the head
No, we
unit,
don't. We don't have to do anything. Why are we adding compressors? Who needs AC, who doesn't?
the 2 compressors that are down there are air conditioning only. The 2 new air compressors, the 2 new compressors are gonna go on those mounts. Those same locations. And we can do all of them on 2 compressors as opposed to buying 2 new ones.
But
So the head units essentially are
what room is gonna get a different thermostat than it has today?
The clerk's office
Clerk's office will not do any work. That already has.
in meeting room C.
Meeting room C already has air conditioning and heat. Why would we put $45,000 of air conditioning in a room that has heat and air conditioning?
Energy efficiency.
That's phase three.
Yeah, but then you would have to, then you
I'm
would have
not
to.
gonna believe this, guys. I think, I'll
So
vote.
if you want to put it on 3 years, Chris, then it's, if we use, assume the 5%, it jumps it to a $200,000 job, which is 65 grand a year in the CIP on top of whatever else we have to put in the CIP to get there.
Really follow that.
So does that mean that this building
Right back to what it said.
remains under construction? And not making progress towards,
3 years.
Well, we have three projects that they can work on now. We have phase one, we can work on, we have a bathroom, which we can work on, and we have a fully approved parking lot.
we're doing the bathroom.
You've already agreed to give them the money, and those projects aren't done. So.
The
it's-
vacuum schedule, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, mid-January. That's totally out of my control.
No, but we
I'm
have,
just wondering, like,
hopefully, I don't know how long it takes to do those three projects, but they should be done by,
4 to 6 weeks.
perfect. And how long is it gonna take to finish phase one? What's approved?
4 to 6 weeks.
And what, so in 6 weeks, where this building is done construction for 3 years. We don't have to do a single other thing for 3 years.
but does that move
Other than
anything up here?
I'm sorry, what?
In 4 to 6 weeks, does that move planning up here?
Give me an extra week to do that, but yes,
But so by spring, we're not gonna have any projects.
That's all a part of phase one.
correct.
Well, phase one, bathroom one, bathroom two.
Without air conditioning for planning.
They have.
Correct. They have 2 window units mounted permanently. There's one in the corner office and there's one in the main room. I don't believe there's one in the second office off the top of my head. And I will say that towards in June, those 2 air conditioners were not keeping that space cool enough for celebrating children, and they're loud.
Yeah, it just seems silly to be renovating that room, but holding off on the air conditioning and heating, and then 3 years from now,
I would be happy to get a revised number to only do the community development department with AC and heat.
And you have money you found in that budget.
I'm not sure I know what you're,
Didn't you say the engineering came in under budget?
I don't, there's not gonna be enough budget saving to cover that. I don't
To
believe,
cover a single AC.
it's not single,
only-
there's
A
gonna,
single AC only like this.
it's not single, it's gonna be,
And that's just the.
it's gonna be, 2 18,000 BTU heads and 1 36,000 BTU head.
So when I think of celebrating children.
Yep.
You need 70,000 BTU to air condition
Off-
only celebrating children.
Off the top of my head, each office is gonna have 1 unit like that. And then the main office where the 2 administrative, the public is gonna be, that's gonna be a larger unit.
7,
I can't speak to the calculation,
Are they gonna have 3 offices or actually?
there are 2 offices in the back, there's gonna be a shared workroom between the 2 you know where the celebrating children had the workspace? Where all the handprints are, that room?
Yeah.
That's gonna be a space, Monica's gonna be in that space. And then Ginger's gonna be out front. And then anybody else that we hire down there.
We're gonna have a planner, an inspector, and 2 administrative assistants, right?
And the assessor.
That's right, and the assessment.
Okay. That's 5 people. The assessor is only there part-time. Does she need an office or can she?
It's not even an office, it's a
Cubicle.
it's kind of cubicle.
Well, she's gonna go into the big room.
there's 2.
She's gonna go in the shared workspace. Kind of like where she is now, and she'll have whatever they come up with, her cubicle.
Office.
There's gonna be 2 private offices.
One for the planner and one for the inspector.
I believe that's the current thought process.
Does the inspector need an office?
I don't know.
I mean, he's gonna, currently has an office only because it's there, right?
Since the discussion seems to be around the heat pumps, would you like me to come back and give David a quote for just doing the planning with new heat pumps?
I don't know, what's the board want?
I think it should be included in CIP going forward, not in this budget.
I'd like to see a completed space.
Phase one, which includes those air conditioners.
Which includes removing the air conditioners later next. If I know I'm gonna get them, I can remove the air conditioners now during this construction. And then
When
come
did
to,
we put that heat pump in?
Which one? Like these?
One in the planning.
David, I don't know, I wasn't here.
It's the wall or window unit.
I wasn't here then.
For you, so I was at least 6. How long you been here? 10 years?
2018. My guess is probably when we put those in, they didn't have heat pumps that could work in this climate.
Right.
Those are probably first or second generation.
I was here when they, so it's 6 years ago.
Yeah,
The window.
yeah, because there was a big, there was a wall unit. This has been here since I've been,
Yeah,
10 years, 12 years.
I think we need to put the air conditioners, heat pump air conditioners in that space. That's. I mean, if we're gonna do it under phase one, let's finish phase one. And that includes the unit.
But it wasn't part of it.
Well, do an oversight.
But we can stay with one. Any other time we,
Could we, as you guys are talking, put the 65 in for CIP? I'll come back to you with a budget amount just to do community development and then pull that figure from that CIP figure. And then I'll do them July 1.
Oh, you guys think?
It's a compromise that
It would be nice, as Angela said, it would be nice to give them a finished room.
Yeah.
I would hate to start going back in there and doing construction again.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to be constantly,
Ideally, if I had done last year's budget correctly, they would have already been done. I had gone out to bid last spring for those to be ready to go July 1st. So they should have already been in there by now.
they should have a completed space. It's my feeling. That's
You can't rely on window units. They're not doing the job now.
right.
No, and they're noisy and,
Yeah.
you know, they're old.
So I guess you're coming back to us. With that number.
I'll get you a number by the end of the week.
Right?
Okay.
That was fun.
You done with me?
We are.
Is that enough?
Can I go?
Run.
Chris?
Run.
Yeah, right, so yeah, I think Chris-
I think we're good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's noted, it's not only rules, Chris, it's noted, points very, very valid. And that there should have been better plan than this.
Yeah, and it's funny, Jeff just gave me the 21 CIP, which says in 153, different project, 3 phases.
But the button, did the budget change that much in those, even though the projects changed?
Well, this was 80,000 to do all of phase one. 25,000 for the bathrooms, which we've done. This, putting the town clerk's office, so up to when this was created, town clerk was still going into planning. And then, a heating system in, phase C. But phase two was $41,000 project, $160.
Phase three in there is really turned into, 2 pages.
So there's a phase four.
What is the third one?
No,
Not yet.
no.
Here it is.
Yeah, it was,
But-
phase two was now bigger than phase 2 and 3 was.
Right. Come on.
Mhm.
But it was that, but it doesn't mean it was adopted, one, it wasn't safe. And it wasn't adopted by the town, it wasn't adopted by this board.
You'll be coming back to us first. Thanks for coming in. Sorry we kept you so late.
Oh, fine.
Did we make any decisions on how much we're putting in?
I thought you said that you were willing to go.
You're still gonna put something in it.
Yeah.
You just said 75 a year and he's gonna come back and tell us how much to take out based on his estimate. Did I miss something?
Just looking so that we can get updated numbers.
All right,
Consent agenda or?
yeah.
Consent agenda.
We're done with this?
Oh, well, what are we?
We're gonna do revenue.
What, we're not gonna do, we're not gonna do,
We're gonna come back to talk to Chris. He said it was late.
no, I know, so,
We still have to go into non-public.
so we're coming back to 20th then. Cause that's our next
I
budget.
believe that's.
Right, Tanya?
Well, don't you guys do it as part of your regular meeting?
So that's like, final recap was a part of the regular.
Well, Jeff and I had talked, yeah, because I know we used to start the off night ones. No, when it was the selectmen's meeting, we would start at 5, right?
We have initially, when it took longer to go through the budgets on the dates that you had a regular meeting, we have an hour before that meeting for a workshop, if you want to do that next week.
For the 13th.
And that'll wrap up our budget.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean,
I'm in Florida next week, but you guys can leave it up.
What do you, that's the third.
I just think just if
Correct.
you have other questions, and then you
Or-
still have the 20th as another outlet if you.
Or we can just wait till the 20th if you think there's, I don't know that there's that much.
Should be here for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you back?
This
You're back
was-
for the month?
I had it scheduled, but let's keep the 20th as a.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
it was a real meeting night that we were gonna do budget 2, and then next week was a budget meeting. I didn't realize that we had 2 non-meetings in a row.
It's a weird
So the 20th.
second and fourth.
Chris will give us an update, number 5. Somebody move.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, this time, we want to, non-public, we won't be coming back out for those listening from home. Thank you for your notice.
So motion moving to non-public session, RSA 91A-3, Tanya, what is it? D.
See,
E.
Is there a second?
Second.
And a roll call vote, Chris?
Yep.
Matt?
right,
Aye.
On my.
I'm gonna do first.